all right, let's get one thing straight. There will be no excuses coming from me in this entire video. So if you're looking for excuses, you probably clicked on the wrong video, and you probably shouldn't be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You should probably go be a fan of one of those bum-ass organizations. But we were missing Larry, and we were missing Deshaun Elliott, and we were missing George Pickens. If you know Pittsburgh Steelers ball and you know Ravens Ratberg week, that shit doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's not on the field. It matters who is on the field. And I swear this has been the most embarrassing last 2 weeks to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Losing to the Eagles in the way we did, and then losing to the Ratbirds in the way we did last night has me so annoyed. I don't even think that missing TJ Watt, as important as he is to this entire organization, should matter as much as it does, because not one man should have to be Captain Save-A-Ho for the entire franchise. It just shouldn't. And for us to go out there, and I know we played okay at times, but majority of the time we felt like Matt Canada was back out there as the offensive coordinator, and we knew that going into this season that we didn't have a legit number 2, and we didn't do our due diligence as an organization to go get a legit number 2 to fill the shoes of a guy like George Pickens if he was so happy to get injured like he did. And it's just completely fucking aneurysm inducing to sit here and watch these guys play as sorry as they did last night. It's one thing to play sorry against other teams, but Ratberg week, when the division title is on the line, it baffles me. It baffles me. I have all the respect for all of the players on this team, but at what point does it make sense to trade for a guy like Mike Williams if he's not going to be consistently on the field? It just doesn't make any sense. We could have used that pick otherwise, or not used it at all. Save that motherfucker for the draft. I mean, shouts out to Russ for trying his best, and Jalen Warren, Najee. Shouts out to everybody for going out there and putting out at least somewhat worth of an effort at some points in the entire game. But at majority of the time, I just was looking at the screen like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we going for fourth and fucking forever, knowing damn well we're already in the hole? Yes, it led to a Minkah Fitzpatrick interception, which just turned around and became another interception. A pick 6 by Marlon Humphrey. Like, at what point in time do we sit back and say, maybe this organization isn't going in the direction that it's supposed to? We saw Jalen Warren, the stats may not say it, but the eye test shows that Jalen Warren was being way more productive on the field than Najee Harris was last night. Every time he was on the field, the offense just seemed like it moved more fluid. And that's no shot at Najee Harris. It's just saying that we should ride the hot hand while the hot hand is hot. And it was Jalen Warren was the hot hand when it came to running the ball and what he gave out of the backfield. And it just completely baffles me knowing that we were missing George Pickens, that Pat Freiermuth wasn't even targeted as much as he should have been. Maybe he was getting locked up down the field, but that just doesn't seem to be completely and honestly relevant, because at what point are we not force-feeding him the ball? The dude should have been getting spoon-fed the ball the entire time. And if we go into this game thinking like, hey, if we can keep it close, we can manage the takeaways, maybe we could go into this game and we could win. Because, I had already called the loss. Because, at some point in time, you have to be a realist and not be biased. And I was being realist knowing that, hey, we're missing George Pickens, we're missing Larry Ogunjobi, and we're missing Deshaun Elliott. There's a very highly chance that we probably can lose this game. But by no means am I going to count us out at all. I still think we have a chance to win because we've done crazier things in the past. But for y'all to go out there and just Russ, I understand you want the game and you want to win. But at some point in time, you have to realize, like, hey, I could possibly fumble this ball. I should probably slide. I understand you want to fight for the touchdown and fight for all the yards that you can get. But that fumble really fucking hurt us. And it's been back-to-back weeks where fumbles have really fucking hurt us. And this goes all the way back to Jalen Warren's fumble. Fumbling the ball has been our biggest downfall this entire year. And it's like Arthur Smith will surprise me at one point and then just completely piss me the fuck off. Last week he had the flea flicker, and I was like, damn, maybe he's finally opening up the playbook this late in the season. But that shouldn't be the case this far into the season. And shouts out to Calvin Austin, dude. He is having a coming out season. and I have nothing but love for that guy. But we have all these other receivers, Ben Skronek. We have Scotty Miller, Von Jefferson, Mike Williams. Like, we have all these guys, and I feel like we have this carousel of receivers that we could have been using to give different looks onto the field, and we just weren't doing that. We have such a one-dimensional offense when George is not on the field. And that shouldn't be the case. We should be able to do things without George. That's why we need a legit number 2. And I really hope we can go out there and get T. Higgins in the offseason. We need a legit 2. Calvin Austin is a great 3 that could be a really good 2, but not a really good 2 that could be a 1, if that makes sense. Calvin Austin can't fill George Pickens' shoes by no means. And I love the kid to death. And I mean, our defense, we had 1 sack the entire time. 1 sack. And they were just feasting on our offensive line. And I know we're missing guys on the offensive line that we've drafted, and guys like James Daniels and Troy Fautanu, but we have to have guys be able to fill shoes and step up when it matters. And I don't feel like guys really stepped up when it mattered whatsoever. I feel like we really went out there and played a piss poor game of football. When it really mattered, the division is on the line, and we go out there and play like we did. That interception that Russell Wilson threw really pissed me off. You have a guy like Marlon Humphrey guarding a guy like Miko Pruitt, and a play that was probably only going to get 2 or 3 yards, if that, and you just completely telegraphed the ball into a pick 6. I have not been this frustrated with this team all year. The loss to the Cowboys really pissed me off. The loss to the Colts really pissed me off. But those are games, all the games we've lost are games that we've lost on our own will, not because the other team just so happened to beat us. I feel like we could have really beat the Cowboys. I feel like we really could have beat the Colts. The Eagles, I think we competed. And last night, I think to a standpoint we competed. But at some point in time, we just kind of folded our cards and said, hey, you know, we're not going to compete anymore. This team is way too talented to be playing fucking Matt Canada-esque ass football. And I just literally, like, it baffles me to think like, hey, I have high expectations for this team going to the playoffs, because I really don't. At this point, I have no expectations. I don't know what to expect of this team each and every week. Now, we got to go into Christmas Day and play the fucking Kansas City Chiefs, who have black magic that gets them through every game. And I just know that that game is going to be fucking grueling. It's going to be brutal. And then we got to turn around and play the Bengals. We got to win out. We got to win out. Because at this point, we're not going to have a home game in the playoffs when it comes to the wild card. This team, as it stands, cannot compete with the Chiefs or the Bills. I don't even know if we can compete with the Texans. I don't even know if we can compete with the Chargers or the Broncos at this point. I don't know what to expect out of this team anymore. And I know having George and Elliott and Larry and Deontay Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. really changes the ceiling of this team in its totality, but we shouldn't have to rely on every player on this team to be completely healthy. We need guys to be able to step up, and I don't feel like guys have been really stepping up to this point. We play really good ball a lot of the times, but a lot of the times I'm literally looking at my screen screaming, what the fuck are we doing? Why are you throwing an RPO on 3rd and fucking forever to Calvin Austin when we're already down? Why the fuck are we doing that? Is Matt Canada wearing disguise as Arthur Smith? Because that's what it fucking felt like. This team really pisses me the fuck off. And I'm a diehard biased Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and that shit boils my blood watching us go out there and play the way we've been playing for the last 2 weeks. So now we got to go into Kansas City. And we know Kansas City has all the weapons, and they're riding a hot hand. They're 14-1. And I just know this game is going to give me an aneurysm. We've got to do better. We've got to do way better. Because at this point, man, going into the playoffs, man, it's going to be another first-round exit. Fuck, dude.